What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. We're back doing another preview video for round 3 of the Rugby World Cup. This one is for Wales versus Australia. A massive game going on this weekend. Is it the biggest game? I don't know. South Africa Ireland's also a big one. But in terms of pool deciding games, this is right up there. Wales going to play Australia. Wales 2 from 2 at the minute. Australia last week lost to Fiji. And now you've got to say they need that win against Wales. I think they're currently on track, if they don't beat Wales, to potentially have their first ever World Cup where they don't qualify out of the pool stages. So everything on the line for Australia in this one. As we do in the preview videos, we're going to have a run through the teams that have been selected for both sides, have a run through who's some good picks, some bad picks, some thoughts on how we think this game might go. And of course, finally ending off with a score prediction. If you enjoy this style of video, make sure to hit that like button. If you're not already, why not? Hit the subscribe button. It's free, it's easy, it takes 2 seconds. Do it right now, it really does help the channel out. So going into this game then, Wales is classed as the home team for this one. We'll start out with Wales. They went on last week to play Portugal, who kept it a little bit closer than probably a lot of people were thinking. I think a lot of people assumed Wales were going to run over that game. It was a bit more of a B team Wales going up against Portugal, who are a bit of an untested entity going up against the sort of tier 1 sides and stuff. And Portugal had a really, really good game. Wales literally just about, right in the very final minute of the game, managed to get their bonus point try, and it was looking like they weren't going to get it. And I thought one of my most outrageous predictions for this World Cup. I go for a Wales win, not with 4 tries. Was going to come true, that Wales weren't going to get that bonus point against Portugal. But going into this game, a lot of changes for this Wales team, right? As we would assume, they played that first game against Fiji. This team is much more in line with the team that played against Fiji than played against Portugal. They've sort of alternated between the games. And you have to say this is a mega important game for Wales. If they go on to beat Australia, given what we've seen, the other teams' performances and how they've been playing against the other tier 1 teams, you would have to say Wales probably go on to qualify out of this pool with no issue. And I imagine would even go on to win every game, which is what I predicted before the tournament. I thought I was mad myself. The comment section also let me know that I was mad saying that. So this game, everything to play for both sides, but Australia need to come away with this win. Starting out in this front row then, Gareth Thomas, Ryan Elias and Tom Francis. This is the same front row we saw go up against that Fiji side. Bit of a change to the team last week. Now, Australia have been getting involved with the scrum. They actually performed quite well up against the Georgian team in their opening week. Australia scrummaging well against Fiji as well last week. Their discipline more the downfall for them against that Fiji team. So this front row will be up for a good old contest. Hopefully we do get some good scrummaging. We've seen the past games between these two sides before. They've had some low scoring games, they've had some high scoring games. Hopefully this is going to be one of the more exciting ones. In the lock department, Will Rowlands and Adam Beard, probably the first and second choice now at the in that line out section. Maybe some people will be thinking David Jenkins to get in. I've seen a lot of negative talk around Adam Beard at the minute, but I think what he offers in terms of getting through the maul is probably more what Gatland's looking at, because Australia off the back of that line out, which looked quite solid against Fiji, to be fair. Some of the players coming in for that lock department for them really enhanced their line out, and I think I can see Australia going for some driving mauls in this game. Adam Beard, across his performances through Wales when he went off with the Lions as well, going over to South Africa, one of his key techniques is trying to drag down that maul and work his way through the middle and hold that up. Might be a really big weapon going into this game. And then in the back row, Aaron Wainwright in the blindside flanker, Jack Morgan as captain in the open side, and Talupe Faletau, who got that bonus point try last week. Now, Jack Morgan wasn't meant to be playing last week, got thrust into the game right before kickoff, and had another phenomenal game. At the minute, he is the absolute shining star of this team. I'm so glad he's out in a Wales jersey, because I can imagine a lot of people wanting to have Jack Morgan in their team in a different international side. He's a bit of a monster. He's playing very well at the minute. So in terms of the forwards, then it's the same forward set we got to see going up against Fiji, and hopefully they've all recovered from their bumps and bruises in that Fiji game, because they had to defend hard in that game. I'm really hoping this forwards pack isn't just going to be used as another defensive shield in this game, and hopefully there's a bit more attack from this side, because Fiji sort of showed going on the aggressive stance is probably one of the better ways to play against this Australia team. In the halfback partnership, Gareth Davis goes back in alongside Dan Biggar. This for me is the first choice at the minute. Gareth Davis is just outperforming Thomas Williams for me. I think I've said for the past few years I would have rated Thomas Williams higher, but at the minute it performance-wise. Gareth Davis absolutely showing off. Glad he's going to be the starting choice for this scrum half position. In the centre partnership, Nick Tompkins goes back in alongside George North, who is finding his feet once again in that international shirt in the outside centre. Scramble defence has been awesome. Defence around the park has been awesome, to be fair. There's that great photo of him holding onto the edge of the shirt of Semi Radradra in that Fiji game. He's playing absolutely phenomenally at the minute. So glad he's back in the team and at that high performance level, because centre was one of the areas that was a bit of a concern for Wales over the last few years, and George North really stepping up into it. And then finally, in the back three, Josh Adams, Rhys Sammet and Liam Williams taking the fullback shirt. Did wonder actually whether Halfpenny might get a look in on the bench for this game, just in terms of maybe a longer range kicker, because this game can come down to kicking. It has done in the past going up against Australia. They haven't gone for it. Liam Williams in that fullback, and no other real direct replacements to the fullback. Maybe someone like Gareth Anscombe will be looking as the replacement fullback. So as the team goes, 1 through 15 is the exact same starting team that we got to see go up against Fiji. They got the win against Fiji. Fiji managed to beat Australia on paper, rock, paper, scissors. It should mean Wales gone to win this one, right? That's not how rugby works, but it'd be nice if it did that work that way. In terms of the subs then, Elliot D, Domachowski and Henry Thomas coming into the side. I've seen a couple of people's fantasy teams have got Dylan Lewis in their teams. Dylan Lewis not playing in this game. It'd be nice to see how Henry Thomas gets a massive game to get involved with this Wales team. I think it's his first opportunity to get into this Wales team. Actually, I can't think off the top of my head. But in terms of his time in the World Cup, I think this is his first one to be involved with. Rest of the placement forwards, David Jenkins and Tane Basham. So Tommy Raffel was actually the bench forward going on against the Fiji team. Tane Basham getting the look in for this one. Another solid player will be coming on in that flanker position at some point during that second half. And then the replacement backs, Thomas Williams, Gareth Anscombe and Rio Dyer. Rio Dyer is one of the interesting calls in this one for me. I'm not sure what Rio Dyer is going to be bringing to this game that the other guys don't. For me, I would have personally looked at Halfpenny for this game, just for that last minute kicking. If the game's going to come down to a couple points, long range kicking. Dan Biggar's got a great boot on him, don't get me wrong. Gareth Anscombe's pretty high in terms of percentage kicking, but just for sheer range, bringing on someone like Lee Halfpenny right at the end of that game, 70th minute, get those long range penalty kicks, might have been a better opportunity. And he also can cover fullback and wing, whereas Rio Dyer is pretty much going on that left wing or nowhere. And if there's an injury somewhere else, Josh Adams has suddenly got to move to centre or to fullback and try to cover those different positions. Probably would have been the only change for me in this Wales team, but it's looking pretty solid across the board. Going up against a Wallabies team. A Wallabies team looking to bounce back. Played Fiji last week, came away with a loss. And you have to say, I feel like Fiji outplayed them in that game. I think they actually did extremely well. Australia they have the team to win games. There's some big names in this team. They've got big performers. A lot of these players were involved in the win over Wales in the Principality, where they came back from whatever it was, like 35-10 down. They came back to win that game. A lot of these players are in that team. They know how to beat Wales. But just discipline, small mistakes, just getting things wrong, not making the most of opportunities, not scoring those points is really, really hindering them. Going up against Fiji last week, I was expecting Ben Donaldson to be kicking points constantly. They had 4 or 5 penalty opportunities to kick over the post, and they kept going for corner. Fiji defending the line out so well, and they just weren't coming away with points. You've got to take the threes when they're on opportunity. Going into this game, then, there have been a couple of switches from that team that face Fiji, and hopefully this team has recovered in time, because it's a big ask coming straight off the back of a Fiji game to now go against another big competitor in your pool. In the front row then, Angus Bell, David Parecki and James Slipper, the same front row we got to see last week. Dave Parecki being the captain for this one, because Will Skelton not in the side. James Slipper been the captain for periods of time, very experienced player, not been given the captaincy for this game. It was one of the things I called out during the Australia-Fiji review, was at one point they took off Nick White and James Slipper at the same time, and Will Skelton wasn't on the field, and it really felt like that leadership quality got lost. So maybe naming Dave Parecki as the outright captain for this game, he'll probably play a good chunk of this game. I can see him doing 65 minutes of this game, keep him on the field for a little bit longer. Maybe will just help with that leadership quality a little bit. In the lock department, Nick Frost and Richie Arnold will be coming in that 4-5 shirt. Nick Frost last week, a bit of a unit in terms of the lineup. One of the players to keep an eye out for in this Australian team. I think he personally stole 3 lineouts versus Fiji, which is an incredible task. Wales's lineout isn't their strongest point of their game plan, so Nick Frost could be one to watch out for in terms of being able to steal that Wales line out and removing that area of the game for them entirely. In the back row, Rob Leota comes in the blindside flanker. Tom Hooper moves to open side, and Rob Valentini in the number 8 shirt. So maybe Fraser McWright not impressing enough. Rob Leota, I think, is a good player. I'm glad to see him getting the start, and I'm glad to see that he's playing 6. I think this is actually a bit of a better setup. Fraser McWright's an interesting player. He's a good ball carrier. Sometimes, though, I do feel he can just be a little bit selfish with the ball in his hands. He just sort of goes by himself. Every time he gets the ball, even if he's got players outside of him, he just runs it straight to the player in front of him. I think maybe this would give them a bit of a better opportunity to get the ball out wider quicker, because they've got dangerous wingers. Sometimes just taking it to the line constantly is not the way to do it. You want to ship it out wide, and Rob Leota is a good ball carrier, but also got some relatively quick hands on him as well. In the halfback partnership, Tate McDermott comes back into the side alongside of Ben Donaldson, moving into the fly half shirt this week, and starting from the fly half shirt, I should say, really, because he did play a bit of fly half last week, because they moved now Nikita Wase to the fullback shirt, which didn't do anything. I don't know what that decision was by Eddie Jones. And Ben Donaldson started to move into to 10 with Carter Gordon going off. Tate McDermott coming back in, though, of course, had his concussion injury against Georgia, so he's unfortunately missed out the game against Fiji. Back in for this one, an exciting scrum half, and I think maybe a good way to do this, because Nick White on the bench then, you can bring him on later if Parecki goes off. You've got Nick White coming on later, just again for that leadership, decision-making, leading the team, I think is an incredibly important thing with this Australia team at the minute. In the centre partnership, Karevi goes in alongside Jordi Pataya once again, who on attack with the ball in hand looks dangerous. In defence is not particularly doing too well, and I don't know what was going on last week against Fiji, where they kept giving the ball to Jordan Pataya to kick the ball on. I don't think I saw a single kick on work last week. I don't know what that was about, especially when Samu Karevi is actually quite a good footballer. I don't know why it was the decision to keep giving it to Pataya to kick the ball on. It didn't seem to do anything. They were just kicking the ball into the 22. Fiji were either clearing or the ball was being kicked dead. I think maybe switch it up a little bit. If you're going to use that kicking option, let Karevi kick, because he's got a good boot on him. He can certainly find space in that backfield. We'll see how they get on in this game. And then in the back three, Marika Koriabeti, now Nikita Wase, and Andrew Kellaway. Now Nikita Wase is getting tries every game I think he's in. He's scoring pretty highly in terms of the fantasy. He's been in my team for the past couple of weeks. He's the only one getting over the try line. Koriabeti, a solid winger, not getting the ball. I don't know what is going on in this Australian team. They are not getting the ball to that left wing at all. The only meters he feels like he's making is when the ball gets out to him. He has to run all the way around about 7 players and then cut back through the centre. I don't know why they're not using him. He's a ferocious winger on the charge. You want to get that ball out to him as quickly as possible so he has space to work in and go on the charge. I really hope he gets a bit of ball time this week. And Andrew Kellaway coming into that fullback shirt. I did see the interview with Eddie Jones after the Fiji game. There was a lot of talk about bringing Andrew Kellaway, and he was kind of dismissive of it. I don't know what he's got against Andrew Kellaway. I think Andrew Kellaway is a solid player. Not only can he play fullback, can move into the wing as well. I think he's actually quite a good fullback, and I've not really understood why they've been pushing Carter Gordon so much. Ben Donaldson at 10 and Andrew Kellaway at fullback, I think, is actually a better setup for me. A bit annoying they're doing it against Wales for me as a Wales supporter outside of the channel, but I think this is a better setup for them. In terms of the team then, I still don't think this is necessarily the strongest Australian team they have, but I think some of the changes they've made from that team going up against Fiji, I think could be some positive changes. Quickly then, in terms of the replacements, we've got Fasler, Shoop and Famu Sili will be going on in that second half front row. Matt Phillip and Fraser McWright, your replacement forwards. Nick White, Carter Gordon and Vunivalu to come on later on in that second half. Vunivalu, of course, getting his try against Fiji. Not that I think he designed it all. It came off the back of a maul and it splintered out and he managed to be the one on it. I think some of the other wingers would have loved to have a shot at that one. Again, I'm still not necessarily sure about him as a choice. Australia's a bit more of a difficult team. I don't know why Andrew Kellaway hasn't been on the bench in previous games in order to come on the wing or at fullback, whether you need him to. I think that would have been a much better choice last week with them taking Carter Gordon off, move Ben Donaldson into the fly half, put Kellaway on at fullback and leave now Nikita Wase on the wing. But I think this is a better setup for them. Maybe Vunivalu will come on when Wales have got a little bit more tired and there's a bit more space opening up. Maybe he'll be able to make the most of it. What do we think then in terms of a score prediction? Well, in terms of how these games tend to go, Wales-Australia is always a really close game. It just always is. There's always about one score in it. It just seems to be how it works. They're really tense games. They're normally right up to the final whistle. Of course, back in 2018, we had that 9-6 victory to Wales, which was a hard game to watch. Since then, it's been 29-25 to Wales, 29-28 to Wales, and then, of course, in the November last year, we had that comeback from Australia to win that game, 39 points to 34. So in the last 5 games, Australia have won 2, Wales have won 3, Australia winning the last meetup between these two sides. It's going to be another close one. It's going to be one score either way for me. Given how the teams are performing, you would sort of lean more towards Wales. I think Wales have put on the same team that beat Fiji, that beat Australia. It makes logical sense to go down that route. The changes made to Australia, I think, are better changes. Andrew Kellaway in that fullback position is a big shift for them, and I think it will improve them. Ben Donaldson, in terms of the kicking, can improve that kicking, but they've got to choose the option to kick, which they didn't do against Fiji. They didn't make the most of those penalty opportunities. Wales, again, though, I think will come at this game in a very professional manner. It won't be about bonus point tries. It's about the win. That's the most important thing. Australia desperately need this win, but if they're not going to get the win, they need to be considering bonus points as well. Obviously, Fiji got 2 bonus points against that Wales team, so Australia need the bonus points as well. I can see Australia actually leaning more heavily towards trying to get those try-scoring opportunities. I think this is going to be a close one. I'm still leaning slightly towards Wales in terms of how their performance has been. Keep an eye out for Nick Frost, though. I think Nick Frost might cause some upsets in this game and steal all the lineouts, and suddenly Australia back on the front foot. I'm going to say Wales to win this one, not by much, though. I'm going to say Wales to win by 4. That's going to be my prediction, guys. Make sure you drop your score predictions down in the comment section, along with your thoughts on the teams. Who do you think is going to win this one? Of course, we do have all the polls up on the community page. So if you haven't already, head over to the community tab on the channel and put your votes in on who you think is going to win each game. And you can come back after the round and see what percentage of people got the games called correctly. It's a lot of fun to get involved with. I'm really enjoying putting stuff up on those community polls as well. I hope you've all enjoyed this one today, guys. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.